G'day guys, Reckless here with another ArmA 3 video. Today's a very special episode. As of a couple of hours ago, Tanoa is now available to download off the development branch of ArmA 3 on Steam, version 1.61. Tanoa is the new map that's going to be included in the Apex expansion, which is due out the end of June, start of July 2016. So effectively it measures about 100 kilometers by 100 kilometers, so it's bigger than Stratus but smaller than Altus. Probably for many players it's actually going to be a perfect size. Anyway, what I plan on doing is sort of doing a bit of a showcase, sort of showing you a couple of some of the cities, some of the features of the island, have a talk about sort of what kind of missions that would go really well on the island, as well as sort of showcasing whether it's, or a bit of a first impressions about whether this is something that you might want to buy for your ArmA 3 collection. Now it is currently 20% off on Steam. I believe I think it's sitting at around about 25 or 27 US dollars. Cost me a bit close to $40 Australian, due to a not so great exchange rate right now. So yeah, basically you can have a decision about whether this is something that you want to, whether you want to download and buy. Anyway, so where we are right now is the major city on Tanoa. So first of all, just have a look at the map. So basically Tanoa encompasses 5 pretty large islands, with this one here being the one that we're on now being the major island. It's effectively loosely based off Fiji, and the actual overall shape is pretty close, to Fiji. Anyway, Georgetown is, from what I can tell, sort of the replica of Nandi, one of the largest major cities in Fiji, based on the west coast. And yeah, it actually looks really good. I think probably the first thing that sort of jumps out at you with Tanoa is the greenery, and sort of the jungle and things like that. But we'll get into that in a little bit. We'll sort of delve into the city and sort of have it take a look around. So sort of one of the other things that sort of grab your attention is the all new assets, all the new buildings. So that's something that I really noticed when I first sort of saw it. One of the criticisms, I suppose, with Chinaris and Altus is that so many of the buildings are copied and pasted, even within the same town that they're in. So sort of just slowly sort of going around Georgetown here, you can see just almost none of the buildings look the same. None of them are even like recolored or reskins of each other. They're actually all unique buildings. Now the downside, from what I can tell, is very few of them are enterable. Like you can sort of come here. Well, I wouldn't say very few, but a really high number of the buildings are not enterable. Now, like I said, this is development build, so who knows? They may be working on interiors later down the line, but haven't really got a long time just yet. So it is kind of disappointing that these massive skyscrapers here, we can't go in. Well, we can't go inside them. Here's a building here from the original ArmA 3 game. Apparently now it's a pharmacy. And just like Altus though as well, which is a bit disappointing as well, is none of the interiors are populated with objects or furniture or anything like that at all. So for whatever reason, Bohemia have realised they don't have to populate their buildings. I suppose from a sandbox point of view, it's a good idea, because then it allows mission makers and mod developers to populate the buildings themselves. Oh, here's one here that is actually semi-populated. I imagine you can get in here, but it's largely using ArmA 2 assets, actually. ArmA 2 shelves. But I mean, from a mission maker's perspective, it's not something you want to spend a lot of time doing. You don't really want to spend heaps of time putting in office chairs and TVs and couches and things like that. You'd really rather it to be a bit more like Takistan, and actually have the maps you're already populated. But anyway, going around, so you can, like I said, you can really see the diversity here. Another thing that really grabs your attention is the ambient sounds. The sound is just phenomenal. I'm really loving it. The only thing I don't like is sort of the way the blending comes in. So I'll sort of try and stay player height, and as we sort of make our way to the river, I mean, that is a calm, placid river. and then we're this far away. Listen how loud that is. It's really, really kind of odd, isn't it? And then you get closer, and it doesn't really get much louder. And I mean, I should be standing right next to it, considering how loud it is. You know, it's really kind of bizarre. And even then, like the water sound. I mean, look how calm that is. You know, and it sounds like my ear is this close to it. That's how loud it sounds. You know what I mean? I don't know. It's kind of an odd sound effect, but I mean, you know, you can even hear how loud that really calm river is from here. I don't know. It's kind of strange. However, though, apart from the water effects, you actually get into the jungle, and it sounds awesome. I'd say that sounds even better than Nisiwasgo or Vietnam or any of the other jungle maps. The actual diversity and the sound effects and the recordings and stuff like that are really great. It really makes it sound like the jungle is full of life. Although, ironically, there actually isn't anything. I haven't even noticed any birds flying around. Or butterflies, but maybe that's because I'm in the editor. Anyway, so that's basically the major city. Overall, I'd say it's probably a little bit more interesting than Chernogorsk, and probably much more interesting than Kavala. It probably is actually the best major city on any island that I've seen in the ArmA series. Another highlight of the island is, of course, the volcano. Now it is a dormant volcano, probably for good reason. It's not really something you would want exploding or going off in your missions and things like that. It is really big, so you can actually see, sort of in contrast to the size of the dome. Sort of as a mission maker, I think it would be really cool to do like a kind of James Bond kind of scenario in here, build like a really big Dr. X type of military installation in here with a nuclear missile that's about to shoot off into the sky, and your job is to come over here and engage all the enemy troops in here. I think that would be pretty cool. Alternatively, this will probably be a really good place to build a actually, I think it would be a really bad place to build a base in Exile or Epoch or something like that. But anyway, already though, it already does have a base here, which is pretty cool. So you can already just play off this one here. Now, one thing I noticed before is over here they actually have like another military base that's like to be built. Now, what I really liked about this is that although it's got these assets here, these earth-moving equipment here, they've actually maybe intentionally or unintentionally left this big open canvas for you to build a military base here. So many times it's really difficult that if you want to build a custom base for to either defend or assault against in the ArmA series, it's quite difficult to do many times. So this is actually really cool, although the base would have to have diggers and things like that around it. Now, of course, you can't remove these. These are hard assets. I don't even think they can be destroyed. It would kind of be cool to drop one of the nuke mods or something like that, or one of those RHS missiles on it from the Russian Federation and see if they get destroyed. But you can't move them or drive them or anything like that at all. But who knows what the modding community will bring along. Again, from what I can tell, this actually looks like just assets straight out of ArmA 3. So yeah, they're totally empty, not even an office chair or anything like that in them there. A little bit disappointing. Moving on, another pretty main key point of the main island is the Red Spring surface mine. I'm not really sure what they're supposed to be digging out, but I guess it would be a gold mine. Maybe it's a soil mine or something like that. I'm not entirely sure. Minerals, I'm guessing iron ore perhaps. Again, so more of these assets here. Now these are huge. These are absolutely massive. I'll put down a unit, just a average assistant gunner, and you can just see how big they are. Why on earth is this taking so long? I'm not sure what that was about. So you can just see how massive the truck is compared to this gunman here. Anyway, we'll keep moving around. So yeah, I mean this here was sort of mission ideas, I suppose. I mean this I would imagine would be for part of the black market on the life mods. It would I think it'd be kind of cool to do a drug deal. I mean that's what I get the feel with this map. I'm not really thinking many of the missions are going to be great for your sort of survival mods, your daisies or your desolations and exiles. I think it'll do really well with your life mods, like a Port of Altus Life or ArmA Life, because of the infrastructure that's already here. You're getting so much with it immediately. But as far as military missions, they kind of feel like they're more going to be along the lines, like the better missions are going to be along the lines of sort of drug dealers and cartels and people smugglers and organized crime, rather than straight up NATO versus CSAT or US versus Russian forces or anything else. You know what I mean? It's going to feel like it's going to be a bit more like Interpol versus somebody or whatever else. So anyway, we're just doing a bit of a high fly along. You can sort of see some farmland and other villages and stuff like that. This installation here, I believe, is the sugar company, Tanoa Sugar Company. So just like a Fiji in the real world, Tanoa's probably main export is sugar, bananas, tropical fruits and things like that. So this is actually a really cool installation. It reminds me a little bit of the industrial complex just northwest of the main airfield on Altus, or actually one of the industrial complexes on Caribou Frontier. But anyway, so it'd be kind of cool to do like a hostage situation in here with some guerrilla forces holding some civilians down, and you basically have to come through the jungle and set up a sniper up there on the hills up there, or or probably actually up there would be better. Put a sniper up here somewhere and have him picking off enemies over there and things like that. And it's also got a main MSR here. It's kind of ridiculous. It has a MSR coming in here for you to run artillery through or something like that. But yeah, so another thought I kind of had coming through. It doesn't feel like a war zone. The place is so beautiful. It makes me want to come on holiday. It doesn't really feel like, maybe it's the time of day. Maybe if let's do this. Let's change the time of day. But oops. But it really doesn't make me feel like, let's try 6 o'clock. It really doesn't make me feel like this place is a battle zone. It feels like a paradise, that kind of thing. So I don't really believe, it's hard to believe that this is, Chinaris was a dark and gritty kind of map. Altus was a kind of semi-rundown, kind of slummy kind of country, out in the middle of the Mediterranean somewhere, so oh wow, I can certainly imagine there's going to be some good storm mods. This is going to go really well with some storm mods, I think. So as you can see here, some sugarcane fields. I'll head up a little bit higher. Might make it a little bit prettier. I'm not really too fancy of that. Let's go midday again. All right, back to the beautifulness of it. So another thing here that's I thought was really cool is the main airport, or I believe the main airport, Airport D Tanoa, is actually a really good representation of the main international airport on Fiji itself. This is if you actually ever go to Fiji on holiday, this is what the actual main airport looks like. It's really small compared to some of the major international airports around the world, but this is really cool. I actually remember when I went on holiday to Fiji, I got picked up from my friends just at this location, just right here. I don't really know why I remember that, but anyway. And then, of course, there's the big loop around and you head out. It's actually a really authentic representation of the main Fiji airport. So that'd be kind of cool. Gain hostage situations. I mean, that's what's really coming to mind as far as missions, for this place here. But, I could be totally wrong. There are probably people watching this going, no, you can, do full-scale invasions of, different forces and stuff like that. But I certainly know now it certainly opens up the modding community to start creating, Pacific Islands, factions, maybe more Asian factions and things like that, to really sort of simulate around here. An Ironfront World War II mod that features, Japanese, more South Pacific kind of battling, with Japanese forces, would be really, really cool, I think, around here. So here's another farm, a logging plantation and stuff like that. Looks really cool. Yeah, looks really, really wonderful. So I'll go over here, show you another thing that's really cool. So the temple ruins at this point here. So again, I mean, just you get hit immediately with those awesome ambient sounds. It really makes you feel like you're deep in the jungle. Now, one thing as well, I know when a lot of people were watching um, the videos for Tanoa, the overall showcase videos or the trailer, the idea of the performance in the jungle because of how dense the jungle is. Like, was it just going to kill your frames? Well, I can safely say that my rig isn't particularly anything special, and the frames are fantastic in the jungle. The city, not so much, but I mean, like, that's like any ArmA city. But out here in the jungle, it's just fantastic. I mean, look at this. This is the Tanoa ruins here. I mean, this is just absolutely amazing. Reminds me so much of something out of Uncharted. Uncharted or Tomb Raider, something like that. One of the first Tomb Raiders. So again, a lot of sort of militia and guerrilla-based missions sort of come to mind. What we can do through here. You know. It's just fantastic. I mean, this would actually make for a really good place to build a base in Epoch or Overwatch or something like that, Exile, because it's so well guarded from aerial attacks and things like that. Like, it's pretty hard to sort of spot down there. But yeah, it's really great. Another thing is, sort of we'll have a real quick look at the island. So one thing I noticed was a little bit disappointing was the lack of on Fiji. There's a place called Dunrao Island, which is the main. It's sort of located around sort of this point here in Fiji. It's effectively the resort area where the resorts and tourists go, but they've actually turned this into an industrial port. Really, all I can tell from the sort of resort areas is up here on this island. Up here is the hotel resort. So, considering how much the tourist industry is important to islands like Fiji, Vanuatu, and New Caledonia and things like that, it's kind of surprising that this is really all they. This is all I've been able to find as far as an actual resort area. So, I mean, granted, ArmA's a military game. What do you need a whole bunch of hotels for? But if you're going for authenticity, it's kind of surprising they didn't include more. Overall, though, it's a pretty decent resort. All the buildings are empty, though, again, so you're going to have to populate those. Immediately, what comes to mind is a battle royale Tanoa hotel, I suppose, mod. Would be kind of cool, like the Battle Royale Ghost Hotel mod. That sounds pretty cool. Or also a kind of Die Hard mission. I don't know why that's coming to mind. You can populate this place with a whole bunch of terrorists holding people down, and then bring in a lone John McClane via boat. Coming up through here, and coming through here and having to come in and save the day type of thing. But overall. So what I can tell here from this main office is that it is enterable, but again, totally empty, and you sort of come upstairs and that's it. Like, yeah, I wouldn't say the buildings in this, while they are pretty, they're not. You look at sort of DayZ, how Chernarus Plus has like almost every building is enterable. Almost every building in Altus is enterable. Why they've decided to keep so many closed, I don't know. I don't really know why. You get a lot of the smaller buildings, these are all enterable. Maybe they think these are the ones that people are going to use, but again, they're empty. Even the toilet. Like, what the hell is this? Is this a shower or a toilet? Like, there's nothing in it. Now, granted, it is development build still, so hopefully they are still going to work on them, but man, there's a lot of buildings that are not enterable. So I'm really not sure what they're doing about that. Other than that, a real quick look at some of the other islands. Comms Whiskey. So here's another military base up here, just a real small one. Well, it doesn't actually. I don't even know that is a military base. More of a radio outpost, isn't it? So another cool thing is they've put a couple of bridges in around the map. So this obviously sort of, for me, brings back sort of memories of Taviana, DayZ mod, where you sort of are really nervous running across this really long bridge, hoping that a sniper doesn't pick you off, from up on the hill. That's a really good spot there, actually. It'd be kind of good for a convoy mission here, actually. Get the guerrilla forces or Russians or whoever it might be to bring a convoy down this road here, and then you have to sort of true lies it. Get a helicopter and just, come and blow them up here as they're going across the river. I think that'd be kind of cool. like the movie True Lies. But yeah, so overall another town here. So, I mean, it doesn't see none of the buildings look like they're copy and pasted. Now a lot of these could have been duplicates. That one there actually looks familiar from earlier. But I mean, yeah, there's such a really large variety. Oh, here's the supermarket again. So, I mean, yeah, the buildings are obviously copy and pasted between the towns, but within the towns, the buildings are pretty unique. So I think that's pretty cool. And you know, I can give Bohemia cut him a bit of slack for that. So I mean, overall, it really does give a really authentic feel for what Fiji and the Pacific Islands is actually like. It looks really good. I think overall this is going to be a particular map that's going to be great for, you know, maybe a Jurassic Park type mission, guerrilla type missions, maybe even horror and thriller type missions. Just the overall terrain, overall large scale military ops. I don't know. I mean, I'm sure some really good mission makers are going to do some great large scale stuff on here, but it really, I don't buy this island as a war zone. That's really it. That's frankly really it. It's going to be fantastic for life mods because it really is a tropical paradise. You know, you can. I mean, it does look very much like Fiji, but you can almost pass it off for, you know, Vietnam or Thailand, Philippines, that type of thing. You know, you could almost pass it off, but you know, you could. Yeah, I won't go down that route there of Southeast Asia, but I'm sure the type of missions you could make for that. You know, yeah. I mean, God, I just want to get on a motorcycle and just go for a ride. Looks really nice. You know, and I certainly don't buy this as a zombie apocalypse. You know, I don't think Desolation or Exile really is going to fit here. Considering Exile, I believe you're supposed to be playing as a prisoner, sort of being dropped in to a prison island. I think that's the whole idea of Exile. I don't really buy this as a prison island. You know, and unless you're playing a day zero type of zombie mission where it's the first day of the apocalypse, I don't really buy it as that type of thing. But I mean, overall, it's going to have some really good ideas. I'm really keen to see what the campaign's going to have and stuff like that. So, yeah, I mean, this is a pretty good overview, I think. Probably at this stage, you're probably deciding whether this is something that you're really interested in. Now, keep in mind, I think, as I said earlier, Apex includes new weapons, vehicles, factions, units, clothing, you know, a whole bunch of new stuff, not just the island. It also includes, I believe, a 4-player co-op campaign, a full-blown single-player campaign. Maybe both of them, maybe those are one and the same, I don't know. And hopefully some new game modes as well. Bohemia seem to do a pretty good job when they develop game modes and stuff like that. So we'll see, but overall, it runs really well. My rig isn't particularly great, and it runs well in the editor anyway, which is really good. Sorry about that. But yeah, so I mean, obviously, references to Jurassic Park have come up and things like that. But anyway, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to build a real quick mission in MCC, spawn in some AI, and let's see how this thing performs under a bit of stress. Alright, so I've really quickly created a mission here in MCC with basically a few guerrilla forces here in the town of ArmA. And some FIA soldiers up here that are about to head down and assault them. So we'll sort of have a rundown with them and sort of see how it performs with AI around and things like that. Now, of course, my rig isn't particularly great. Overall, if you're doing sort of large-scale battles like this or medium-sized scales like this, you should actually be running on a designated server. But we'll sort of see how things run. Get a bit of an idea of how beautiful the city is. I might actually put on ghost mode so I don't get shot at. Otherwise, it sort of makes for a boring video once I get shot at by the AI, but you just see how beautiful this whole this here is during the day. It's really wonderful. So we'll sort of go for a run with the AI down here. What I might do is, since we've seen how beautiful it looks, let's just see how bad it looks. Fully overcast. Make it about that foggy. Oh. Oh, wow. Oh, wow. Listen to that storm. Holy shit, that's gonna give you nightmares. Wow. I think probably the most impressive thing with this map is the ambient sounds. Just listening to that. Wow, I wonder if that's going to get ported over to Altus. Whether Altus is going to have storms like that. That's incredible. We got enemy up here. I don't know. So I didn't bother changing my skin. I'm actually running around as a US Army troop, which is a bit out of place, but whatever. Not really sure. That's obviously the new lighting system. I'm not really sure if that looks like the big dark rain clouds. I'm not really sure what that's about. How far away are we? Yeah, we're getting there. So apparently they've already spotted all the enemy, and they're actually going into tactical mode now. It's very surprising. I don't really get that. Looks really good at a ground level. You know what I'm saying? Like this really feels like this is designed for, you know, guerrilla warfare and cut. Is that rounds? Trailers. Hostile. AK fire. Cover up here. This is the fire breaks out. Oh, there is that petrol station there. Dude is unfortunately a bit tired. Guys down. Wait for my the reinforcements to come up here, I think. So it looks like the AI, you know, pretty aware of the cover that's around them. It's finally dead. So I am getting some pretty hard FPS hits. But again, normally this type of battle will be run for me on a designated server, so you know, I'm kind of it is running the AI off my machine as well. I'm sort of going to give a bit of a flank up here. Right grenade down there. See if I can make the petrol station explode. Sure, the petrol station is not sure if the petrol station is explodable. Anyway, we'll jump into Zeus, have a look, have a bit of an idea of what it looks like in a battle. Alright, where the other enemy are, so there's some over here. Oh yeah, these guys here flanking over here. say the AI can see way too easy. I mean, how does he see that through there? Like, really? I don't get that. Bang. Really good. I need to show these guys here to my clan members, man. This is how a unit moves through the jungle. Keen to watch this. So, you know, anyone who ever says the AI is stupid, nah, mate. They sort of know what they're doing. They can be stubborn. So I should just be... really know their way around the plants and stuff like that. This is really cool. Alright, let's mix things up a little bit here. Drive a little bit. Make it rain. It's really cool, doesn't it? Just listen to that. Yeah, wonderful. Really good. Anyway, guys, I hope you've enjoyed this Overwatch and a bit of a battle and things like that. Give you a bit of an idea of what Tanoa is like, both in the good and the bad. If you like this video, hit the like button. If you didn't like it, make sure you hit the dislike button. Leave a comment about what you liked or you didn't like, and subscribe for more. Yeah, thanks very much for your time, and see you guys on the battlefield.